In the previous lesson, we discussed the basic project lifecycle model. In this lesson, we will expand the same concept much further. Let's begin with a quick recap of project phases. It's a common best practice to break up a large project into smaller, manageable chunks called phases. A thumb rule is that every phase should have at least one deliverable. This deliverable can be anything, either customer-facing or internal or interim. Naturally, the activities within a phase will all be related. Also, remember from the previous lesson that phases can be sequential, iterative, or overlapping. This is a point that you have to remember. It will come up later. At the end of every phase, a review is done of the deliverable. This review is called as a phase gate. And it is like a gate. It is an opportunity to check the performance and progress of the project. Based upon the review, you should take project decisions whether to continue or terminate the project. What work you have to repeat or rework or improve and so on. All of this is decided in the phase gate review. Here on the screen are some examples of project phases. You can name the phases anything meaningful to your own project. Please pause the video here and observe the names of these phases. The key point to note in this slide is that in every project there will be one or more phases where you are doing the actual work that creates a product, service, or a result of that project. That's when you are developing or executing or building the project. For example, if you are building a skyscraper, that's when the physical construction happens. If you are creating an AI software product, let's say, that's when the coding happens. And we call this phase as the development phase. It's very special. This development phase can have its own life cycle. And it is called as development lifecycle, contrasted with project lifecycle. In common literature, the terms project lifecycle and development lifecycle are often used interchangeably. We will now examine this development lifecycle in the next slide. Okay, now we come to the real meat of this lesson. The development lifecycle can be either predictive, adaptive, or hybrid. Many practitioners have a lot of confusion with the topic that we are going to discuss now. I will make it real simple and please pay extra attention. We will examine these three life cycles from the perspective of scope, time, cost, and change. Now, in the predictive life cycle, all the key parameters of the project are planned meticulously upfront and they are more or less fixed at the beginning. That is, the scope, time and cost are established early in the project. We will first strive hard to establish what we want, how much time it will take and how much it will cost. This type of predictive life cycle is the earliest form of project development. Massive construction projects, infrastructure projects, large banking and financial software, national defense and security projects, healthcare, mission-critical projects, large products, operating systems are all in fact run in this predictive lifecycle way. Think of all the Fortune 500 companies. Change is an enemy here, but as we know, change is inevitable and has to be very carefully managed. Because scope, time and cost is rather fixed, predictability is naturally high. Predictive life cycle is also called as traditional life cycle, or it is also called as waterfall life cycle in all the textbooks. Next, we will go to adaptive. Adaptive life cycle is the modern solution to tech disruption in project management. This style of life cycle methodology started as a direct response to the internet revolution a couple of decades back. Adaptive is the same as Agile. It is a very broad umbrella of flexible methodologies. The first and foremost philosophy of Agile or adaptive is that change is expected. That's why it's called adaptive. And often it is welcomed. Change happens to scope, and accordingly, time and cost are the knobs that you will adjust to achieve your objectives, given that change is happening. Now, adaptive has two fundamental streams, iterative and incremental. In an iterative lifecycle, the project is divided into smaller parts or iterations, each of which goes through the entire development cycle. For example, planning, requirements, design, implementation, testing, deployment, every time. Scrum is an example of iterative methodology in which we have short intervals in which full cycles happen. For example, 4 to 6 week cycles. We will cover agile techniques in much greater detail later in the course with hands-on projects. So I will not go into very much detail now. In an incremental lifecycle, the project is divided into increments, and each increment delivers a part of the functionality. Unlike iterative, each increment may not go through the entire development lifecycle from start to finish. You can choose how much you want to do in every increment as necessary. Kanban is an incremental lifecycle methodology and very popular. Hands-on examples will follow later. Now, the coolest new kid on the block is hybrid lifecycle. Here, you just take the best of both worlds. You pick and choose the best tools and techniques that will optimize your profits. The core technique is to identify the elements of your project that are well known or that have fixed requirements. Both are the same. And you use predictive tools and techniques for those. And then you use agile tools for the evolving aspects of your project. You keep experimenting and improving from your learnings. Here is a question for you. What are the top 2 evolving aspects of your own work universe that are less predictable and can use some agile tools? Please answer in the Q&A section with the title Hybrid Options. Okay. Now, before ending this lesson, there are 3 extremely important points for you. The first is there will be a question in your mind, should I be conversant in all methodologies, that is predictive, adaptive, including incremental, iterative, and hybrid? The answer is the PMP exam is 50% predictive and 50% agile and hybrid combined. Okay? As stated in PMI's own ECU document. And so is the job market outside in the world. So yes, you should be professionally capable of running a project in any methodology. But in reality, what happens is that you are perhaps highly skilled in one methodology and rusty in others. And this is perfectly normal. This course will cover all the life cycles mentioned in this lesson. So you will be able to polish all your skills. Second point, who decides the lifecycle methodology of a project? The answer is that the project team together should decide the lifecycle, taking all internal and external parameters into consideration. There will be a lot of parameters that you should consider. It's not your boss or your customers or some hype about some new technology that should drive this decision. But be very careful while choosing the lifecycle because it's a make or break for your project. Third point, everybody new to adaptive will have a question in their mind. Is planning necessary or is it present in agile? Especially if you are going from predictive methodologies to agile, this is what comes in your mind. So the answer is planning is present, essential lifeblood in all life cycles. The question rather is really how much planning is done, by whom it is done, and when. That is different in different life cycles. Okay. And with that, I will end this lesson and see you in the next. I hope you enjoyed this lesson as much as I had making it. See you.